from what New Yorkers think are flying UFOs above Manhattan.
This comes as a new report says UFO sightings are up this year in New York. George Bailey is right here with us to show us what the evidence looks like.
One of my favorite topics, guys. So the National UFO Reporting Center, founded back in 1974, says UFO sightings are up 4% in New York City. So last year there were 27 sightings. This year, a whopping 28. National UFO Reporter Center lets users upload pictures of depictions of what they've seen around the world. This is a picture from Queens someone took on September 21st. That submission says the craft was changing directions, going left and right and up and down and hovering multiple times, going all over the place. And they say it lasted about 5 minutes. Now, the Empire State Building seems to be an attraction as well for UFO sightings. At least 13 reports mention the skyscraper, including this one from back in February. The person who submitted this says they took the pictures while at a crosswalk, didn't notice the 6 orbs until the next day. Guys, I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's probably aliens.
It's always good to know you're not alone, but not actually in this case.
I don't know. I think it's drones. Thank you for...
All right, Shalom. This is Harold 1 by Yasha Allah of the Lions Den Camp. I want to say Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Harakah Kodash, Ma'amaf. Double honor to the elder apostles of GMS and the elders. Shalom to you, Akim, Nagwatim, and children that believe in sincerity and truth around the 4 corners of the earth. Now, I want to speak on this topic because you see, the last response was that Jake woman saying, I think the drones. You know, why? So a person like her mind is asleep in this place, Babylon, and confusion. All right, this is why the Lord said that. All right, Wisdom of Solomon 5:2. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. So far beyond all that they look for, man. All that they've looked for is what we've been taught as children to look for. You know, going to these schools, what they teach you in the media, what they teach you in through the movies like E.T. And now the drones, and they already have proven that those are not drones because, if I'm not mistaken, let me get this real quick. All right, because the development of their drones for the military goes back to the 70s, the 60s, and the 90s. But for civilian drones, it says they're called commercial drones, all right? Commercial drones take flight informed by military research and development over the previous 150 years. The first use of drones for non-military ventures started in 2006. The same year, the Federal Aviation Administration issued its first commercial drone permit. All right, so they started allowing people to fly drones. So and you got sightings of chariots going back way further than that, all the way back to Vietnam, called Foo Fighters, and in World War II, and in World War I. All right, so let me see real quick. Let's read this. Well, that's military drones, yeah. But for civilian drones, it was released around the 2000s, 2006 or so. So you have many chariot sightings way before that.
Robert Salas served 7 years in the Air Force, rising to the rank of captain.
So tell me what happened. March 24th, 1967, I and my commander, Fred Mywalt, were on duty in Roy, Montana.
1967.
The men are stationed in the missile launch bunker, 20 meters below ground.
We had control of 10 nuclear missiles. Minuteman I. Each missile had an 800 kiloton nuclear weapon.
Missile 1. If ordered, it's Salas's job to launch the warheads.
I was on alert status. In other words, my commander, Fred, was taking a little nap break. Sometime in the early morning hours, I get a call
us. The other end of the phone is a terrified guard stationed above the bunker.
He's screaming into the phone. He's yelling, "Sir, I'm looking at the front gate. I see this glowing red object."
The strange red object is moving like nothing the guards have ever seen before.
We're flying very fast across the sky, stopping on a dime, reversing course, making 90-degree angle turns, making no noise. These guys were very, very frightened. It was a critical situation.
As fear spreads above ground, things were about to get even more terrifying below.
I need you to wake up. I've got the
Salas
weirdest
wakes
phone
his
call
commander and tells him the guard's report of a UFO above the base. Suddenly, the unthinkable happens.
The lights turned from green to red. In other words, red meaning unlaunchable.
Everything went red.
All 10 missiles were disabled, every single one of them.
So what does that mean?
It means if we were given the order and if we had to go through our launch procedures, they couldn't be launched. This was an inexplicable situation.
With the missiles down, America's nuclear shield is compromised. America's nuclear shield is compromised.
What was going through your mind when all this was happening?
You know, I'm thinking we're under some sort of an attack.
As Salas and his commander desperately try to get their missiles back online, they're told that a week earlier, another missile launch crew at Maelstrom Base reports seeing the same strange lights. And seconds later, their nuclear warheads also go offline.
All 10 of their missiles went down while a UFO was overhead. All 10 of our missiles went down. The UFO was immediately over our facility.
What did you think when you found out that this had happened not once, but twice?
These were the most sophisticated weapons we had, and so I was worrying that something very unknown, very unusual, very strange could disable them. Very unknown, very unusual, very strange could disable them.
All right, see what he said? He said it was strange to him. And that's what it's going to be, man. It's going to be strange, unknown, unimaginable. All right, far beyond all that they could look for. Wisdom of Solomon 5 and 2 again. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. So far beyond all that they look for. And they, repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit, shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometime in derision, a proverb of reproach. So it's, talking about Jakes. That's who salvation is for. The 12 tribes of Israel. So now they think we're nobodies, or just sports players or entertainers ever since slavery. All right. So let's get this real quick. All right, Isaiah 31 and 5. As birds flying, so will Yahweh of armies defend Jerusalem. All right, so as birds flying, meaning the Lord gonna send out his teams, and the leader is gonna be Yahushua. What they call V formation, just like you see in the sky right here. All right. But Yahushua is going to be leading the charge, as I said in my last video. But it said, in defending Jerusalem, all right, Yerushalayim, which today would be the hopeful elect, all right, it goes with Psalms 91. He's going to give his angels charge over thee. Defending also, he will deliver it. See that? So the same angels that's going to be doing the defending, they're going to be doing the delivering, all right, as well. And passing over, he will preserve it, man. All right, so that's going to be what you call a second Passover. All right, we're always going to celebrate the old Passover, but this is going to be a new one, to where the Lord passed over the elect and delivers them and doesn't destroy them. All right, so He will preserve it. He's going to preserve the elect for the kingdom. That's the goal. This is Revelations 1:7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so among, they're going to be weeping and wailing, and all kindreds, all the nations of the earth. So it's going to be all around the world. All right, not just in America, it's going to be all over the earth. You see that? And they which pierced him, 2/3. Jake's the one that pierced him with the orders from the Sanhedrin and also from what you would call the Roman Empire. Because at that time, Jake couldn't do any killing without consulting with the Roman Empire at that time. All right, so they was in cahoots together against our king, Yahushua. All right, they didn't want us having a king over Israel. Because if we have a king, then they have to give us sovereignty. You see that? We're actually a kingdom. So, yep, that word clouds, man. All right, it says here, that word cloud is naphale in Greek. And it says cloudiness, used of the cloud which led the Israelites in the wilderness. So it's going to be many clouds. It says clouds, plural, but it's used of the same concept of the cloud that led us through the wilderness. All right. Led the Israelites. So the same one's going to come deliver the Israelites. All right, so let's get into this real quick, man. For example, you have Hezekiah, all right? Let's use him for example of how Yahushua has humbled himself in the sight of Yahweh and have kept the wrath of Yahweh from falling upon the elect. And he's going to he's built storehouses, all right, for the elect to be stored in, just like you would do corn or wheat or wine or oil or grain. So let's get into it. This is 2 Chronicles 32:27. Now you have Hezekiah. He was ruling around the 7th century BC, right, BCE. Now it says, verse 27, and Hezekiah I'm going to go to 26. Notwithstanding, Hezekiah humbled himself for the pride of his heart, both he and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so that the wrath of Yahweh came not upon them in the days of Hezekiah. So the same way, the elect of Israel humbling themselves, so that the wrath of Yahweh does not come upon us. And Hezekiah had exceeding much riches and honor, and he made himself treasuries for silver and for gold and for precious stones. And today, the silver and the precious stones, let's get that. All right, this is Proverbs 20:15. There is gold and a multitude of rubies, but the lips of knowledge are a precious jewel. So the men that's teaching this knowledge, they're precious, just like jewelry, all right? Just like certain jewels that are precious stones, that's what they call them. All right, rarity. Isaiah 13:12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. All right, so we're being made precious because there's not going to be a lot of the elect compared to Israel. You know, the whole nation of Israel. Now you have a third, but you take 1/3 away. That's what's going to be delivered. All right. Let's get this. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and 1. And he answered me, saying, the Most High have made this world for many, right? This world is made for many, of Israel especially, but the world to come for few. So that's set up for the elect to inherit the kingdom. And I will tell thee a similitude, Ezra, as when thou askest the earth, it shall say unto thee that it giveth much mold, whereof earthen vessels are made, but little dust that gold cometh of. Even so is the course of this world, present world. There be many created, but few shall be saved. That's what's making them precious. I found it. It says Malachi 3:17. And they shall be mine. Who is it talking about? The elect. Saith Yahweh of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels. Let me go up to 16. Then they that feared Yahweh spake often one to another. And that's what we're doing. It's called prophesying and teaching. All right, often one to another. And Yahweh hearkened and heard it, and a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared Yahweh and that thought upon his name. All right, book of the prophets. And they shall be mine, saith Yahweh of hosts, in that day when I make up my jewels. So the Lord is making up his jewels, okay? His elect, his precious stones. And I will spare them as a man spareth his own son that serveth him, man. Okay, so let me get that Malachi 3:17. Malachi. Where's Malachi? Okay, Malachi 3:17. Let's get this word jewels. And it says wealth, possessions, property, value, property, peculiar, treasure. All right, treasures, man. So the Lord is making storehouses for his treasures. All right. I think it's Kwa Gala. Now, all right, this is 1 Peter 2:9. It says, but ye are a chosen generation. All right, let's get chosen. All right, chosen meaning picked out, chosen by Yahweh to obtain salvation. Chosen or elect, okay? Selected. Wow. It's choice stones, man. All right. And it says here, you're a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation. We're actually a holy nation, set apart nation together, being in this truth called New Jerusalem, Yerushalayim. A peculiar people. Let's get that word peculiar. All right. Let's see. What's the word peculiar, the etymology? And it means of private property. Wow. All right. Private property, man. Property, cattle. Cattle being private property. The sense strange dates from the earlier. So, it's deep. All right, private property. It says private properties refers to the ownership of property by private parties, and that private parties are Yahweh through his son Yahweh Shai. All right, they're the owners of Israel. Essentially, anyone or anything other than the government. Private property may consist of real estate, buildings, objects, intellectual property, copyrights, patents, trademarks, and trade secrets, and also cattle. All right, so that goes into objects. All right, so we're private property of the Lord, like just like you would stash your jewels in a private bank. All right, something that was private to you, that's owned, separate from the current ruling government. All right, let's continue. It says here, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. Wow, royal. He said he's going to make us kings and priests. Royal meaning kingly in nature. All right, so we're kingly in nature, just like our King Yahweh Shai, ruling in the spirit. A royal priesthood and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. And that's Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, all right? And we're supposed to show forth praises, meaning virtues. All right, so we're peculiar with his jewels. So let's get back to let's get back to 2 Chronicles 32 and 27. And Hezekiah had exceeding much riches and honor, and he made himself treasuries for silver and for gold, and for precious stones, and for spices, and for shields, and for all manner of pleasant jewels. So the Lord made treasuries, and those treasuries are those chariots. You know, looking at it metaphorically today with Yahweh Shai. It says treasury, meaning what? Storehouses. All right? Depository, so you can deposit us there. Okay? Treasuries for gold and silver. Storehouses of Yahweh. Wow. All right. So they're called depositories. So the Most High has set up depositories in the heavens. It's going to be chariots. And the main chariot is Yahweh Shai's chariot. But the elect, the angels are going to be sent out in their chariots to gather the elect and bring them back to the barn, to the big chariot. All right, I've been saying this for years now. So let's go to 28. Storehouses, storehouses also for the increase of corn. So he made storehouses, and wine and oil and stalls for all manner of beasts, and coats for flocks, for the flocks, man. All right, so this is what a king does, man, in preparation for a gathering. All right, for preparation of an increase. That was a trust that was promised to him. Okay, storehouses, let's get that. It says storehouses, supply, storage, a magazine. Okay, for, you know, to store your crops or your corn or your cattle or your precious jewels. All right, so let's go to, with that in mind, let's go to Matthew's 3 and 11. Matthew's 3 and 11. All right, it says, I indeed baptize you with water unto repentance, but he that cometh after me is mightier than I. And this is John the Baptist speaking. All right, so John was set up to baptize with water. Yahweh Shai was set up to baptize, submerge us, wash us, and clean us in the word, the spirit, which is the water, spirit of truth. Whose shoes I am not worthy to bear, he shall baptize you with the Holy Spirit, see, the Holy Ghost, and with fire. Whose fan is in his hand, all right? And the fan represents a winnowing tool that if you had grain on the ground and you would fluff it up in the air with like a rake, you know, or a fan almost, and you would flip it into the air, that would separate the grain. And that's what the Lord is doing now, called a sift. All right, the Lord is sifting. It says a winnowing fork. That's what it means. All right, a scattering like spittle. That's to scatter all the grain around the four corners of the earth and to separate us spiritually from the world. This is Amos chapter 9, verse 8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord, the angels, and his own eyes, and also his elect, are upon the sinful kingdom, Esau's kingdom. And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth. It's not going to exist anymore. That's why they're looking at the Empire State Building or that area of New York, because it's not going to exist in the Lord's kingdom. And for lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All right? So the elect are not going to fall away. Okay? But it says here, let's get that word sift. And that's what he's doing with the winnowing tool as well. He said the fan is in his hand. He's controlling it. It says to waver, to quiver, totter, shake, reel, scatter, stagger, wander, move, sift, make, to move, to wave. All right, to waver, quiver. Just to shake, to disturb, to cause, to wander. All right, to wave, to waver. All right, so the Lord is sifting the house of Israel and winnowing. Let's get that real quick. Winnow. It says, winnow means to blow a current of air through grain in order to remove the chaff. And it's ultimately talking about those missiles. Those the winds that's going to burn up the chaff to separate it from the wheat. All right, so Matthew 3 and 12, whose fan is in his hand. So he's going controlling it, this judgment that's coming. And he will thoroughly purge his floor, man. Whew. And gather his wheat into the garner. All right, so the wheat is going to be gathered by the angels. And they're going to be taken to the garner. The garner is the barn or the big chariot that's huge like a mountain. All right? Mount Zion. In the sky. So he will gather his wheat into the garner, so they're going to be gathered from all the four corners of the earth and taken into the barn or the garner. Let's get that word garner. It says, but he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. All right, so that's going to do the separation. That's going to be a separating point when the destruction hits. All right, let's get the word garner, because this is where he's going to gather the elect. It says garner. It means apotheke. It means a repository, a granary. And within a granary, you set it in order, you clean it, and you're going to cleanse us, give it new bodies, and you're going to separate us and put us in order. So if you're a Judite, you're going to be set back with Judah. All right, so you're going to order the elect. a place in which anything is laid up or laid by, a storehouse, a granary. See, just like Hezekiah set up, the king, the righteous king, in preparation for his treasures, all right, and his grains. Yahweh Shai has everything set up. The kingdom is already prepared, and our deliverance is already prepared. All right, the water to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. But it says the granary, all right, and the granary. Let's get that, a repository. Repository, a place, a building, or receptacle where things are or may be stored. Okay? So, let me see if it got any more definitions. A place, a room, or container where something is deposited or stored. And that container is the huge chariot that Yahweh Shai has. But the angels are going to gather just like they take a basket out to the field. The field is the world. Let's get that. This is Matthew 13:24. All right, I'm going to go to the lexicon. Matthew 13:24. Matthew 13. All right. And 24. And it says, another parable put he forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. And the field represents the world, and the seed represents the spirit of truth. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also, all right, the wicked. You know, some say it just means like everybody is confused. You know, the speckled bird or Israel mingled in with the nations. You don't know who's who. But also it's talking about the wicked, right? So we don't know who the elect is and who's not. But the angels and Yahweh Shai know. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, did not thou sow good seed into thy field? From whence then hath it tares, all right? And the Lord said that, what more could I do to my vineyard? Let's get that. Okay, and the vineyard represents Israel. Isaiah 5:4. What could have been done more to my vineyard that I have not done in it? Wherefore, when I looked that it should bring forth grapes, brought it forth wild grapes. All right, so it brought forth wild grapes, meaning poisonous. All right, and toxic. Because that's what wild grapes do. They grow whatever from whatever environment it's in, and this environment is a toxic and wicked place. So our people that have not gotten their mind out of this place, they represent those wild grapes. You know, so how would you be able to tell the difference between the two? Just like tares and wheats, you have to wait till they blossom. Like the tares and the wheat, a tare looks just like wheat when it's in its youth, but when it blossoms and grows for the harvest, that's when you know, you can see the difference between the two. All right, and now today we can tell the difference through the doctrine. Judge a tree by its fruits. All right, so let's get back to Matthew 13 and 25. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat and went his way. All right, so they deceived our people. And they went their way towards what? Perdition. That's what Esau did. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? And the field is the world. From whence hath it tares. And he said unto them, an enemy have done this. Okay? All right, this is what a tare is. It says a darnel or false grain, a kind of darnel resembling wheat, except the grains are black. See that? So it's different. And it's a false wheat. And it's not of any use. So it had to be taken and burned. All right. All right, so, and that goes for 2/3 as well. So it says, he said unto them, an enemy have done this, deceived our people. The servant said unto him, unto them, an enemy have done this. The servant said unto him, wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? So the angel was like, you want to go gather them? But he said, nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. All right? So that's what we're waiting for. That's Revelation chapter 7. The Lord is waiting for the elect to be sealed. It says, let them both grow together. And that's what we're seeing right now. Until the harvest. All right? The harvest. And we're in the time of harvest. Reaping. The crop, the harvest, the act of reaping, man. Of the gathering of men into the kingdom of Yahweh. Referring to the time of reaping, the final judgment, when the righteous are gathered into the kingdom of Yahweh, and the wicked are cast into destruction forever. All right, and that's talking about Esau. That's right, the time of harvest. This is Matthew 25 and 31. No, let's get this. 25 and 29. For unto every one that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance, meaning the truth. But if they're wicked, they're gonna have more of that. The wicked shall wax worse. But from him that have not shall be taken away even which he have. All right, so you start slacking in the truth, the Lord will remove the spirit from you. And cast ye the unprofitable servant into outer darkness. That's the chaff. The chaff is unprofitable. They can't sell it. Can't use it. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth, when the Son of Man shall come in his glory, and all the holy angels with him. So you're going to have all the angels with him. Then shall he sit upon the throne of his glory, and before him shall be gathered all nations, as we see, and he shall separate them one from another, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from the goats. And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, and he's doing that spiritually now through the sift, but the goats on the left, so they're going to be destroyed in the fire. Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, come ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. So, all right, and this is the elect. But 2/3 going to be caught up and pushed to the left-hand side, man. All right, and get their destruction with the wicked. You see that? So, all right, let's go back where it says the harvest, right? Now it says, Matthew 13 and 29, but he said, nay, lest while we gather up the tares, to put them to the destruction, ye root up also the wheat with them. All right. It says grain, especially wheat. Now, it says, let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of the harvest or judgment, I will say to the reapers, and the reapers are the angels. All right, the reapers would go out and gather the grain. The harvesters, okay, the harvesters. And that's what reapers do, the harvesters, right? gather ye together first the tares and bind them in bundles, meaning push them all together in the spirit to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. That's the Garner, man. That's the storehouse, the treasury. So the wheat are going to be gathered into the barn. So he said that he's going to give command to his holy angels to go out and gather the elect and bring them back to his barn, meaning that giant chariot, all right, where we're going to have chambers, okay? Where is it at? Let me get this real quick. All right, you can see that on that, there's a video with Boys to Men, and it's a good video. I think Akim should check it out. It's old, but it's called 4 Seasons of Loneliness, and it talks about them being delivered in the chariots and then going back through time and collecting all the women that they lost, you know, digging them up from the grave or out of the snow where they was frozen in different seasons and gathering those women. You know, it's not on point, but it's close. And it shows the elect dressed in white, waking up and coming out of their chambers. All right. Let's get that real quick. All right, that word, let's get this real fast. This is Isaiah 26 and 20. Come, my people, the people are going to be the elect. Enter thou into thy chambers and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment until the indignation be overpast. For behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquity. The earth shall disclose her blood and shall no more cover her slain. All right, let's get that word chambers. That's going to be the separation, man. Separating the wheat from the chaff. All right, whoops. Went to the wrong one. It says chambers. And it's Strong's 23:15. And it says an apartment. Like on the Jefferson, that apartment in the sky, we're moving up. All right, a chamber, a room, a parlor. If you look up a parlor, type in parlor sometimes. Beautiful, man. Like a lounge. The innermost or inward part within. So the Lord going to gather his elect into the chambers or the barns. All right, so he's going to be gathered by the angels and taken to Yahweh Shai. He says, so shall we ever be with Yahweh Shai, man. Okay. So, now let's get back to Matthew's 13. Matthew's 13. And I'll start from 39. All right, so he said, gather the wheat into his barn, man. Let's get that word barn real quick. All right, and 30, I mean. All right, that word barn, that's the huge chariot that Yahweh Shai going to have. It says here, a repository, a granary. See that? He said he should definitely gather the grain into his garner when he destroys with the winds. And he controlling the winds, Revelation chapter 7. All right. A place in which anything is laid up or stored, a storehouse, a granary. All right. And then a granary is where you separate and filter, clean your grain. A storehouse for threshed grain. See, that's what the Lord called us, the threshing floor. The judgment place. But once it's threshed, then you gather the grain, the wheat, until you separate it. You gather the wheat into the storehouse. All right. It says the word threshed means to separate grain from a plant, typically with a flail or by the action of a revolving mechanism. All right, there's going to be the missiles that's going to do the separation. All right, the threshing floor. He said he will thoroughly purge his floor. All right. Let me get that. This is Jeremiah 51:33. It says, "For thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel." See, he's our God. "And the daughter of Babylon," talking about America, "is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her. Yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come." All right, because America is going to be the main place where the salvation will need to happen, because the missiles in America is going to be getting destroyed. All right. So the main deliverance is going to happen here in America. It's going to happen within 1 hour. You know? So this is the threshing floor. All right, so the barn, that's where they're going to be gathered into the granary, the repository. And the rest are going to be destroyed here among the threshing floor. Let's start from Matthew 13:39. It says, "The enemy that sowed them," 38. "The field is the world." See that? The whole earth. "The good seed are the children of the kingdom." That's the elect that have the spirit of truth. "But the tares are the children of the wicked." All right, Esau and 2/3 that follow after him. "The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels." So the reapers, the angels, going to be sent out to gather the elect and bring them back to the barn. "As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity," man. So you can gather them to be destroyed and burned, but the righteous are going to be delivered. "And shall cast them into a furnace of fire," meaning change them. They're going to be destroyed. "And there shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth," just like in Revelation 1:7. "Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let him hear." All right. It's deep, man. So let's go to Psalms 91. All right, because it's going to be the angels that do the gathering. Get Psalms 91 and 11. All right. Psalms 91:11. It says here, "For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways." All right, give him charge over you. Let's get that. That word charge means to constitute, enjoin, to command, to give orders, lay charge, give charge, orders. It's deep, man. All right, so he says he's going to command his angels to do what? To keep you in all your ways. And the word keep goes back to the word shamar, which means to guard or to watch. They shall, and then ultimately what? That's going to lead the elect, once they're delivered and protected from the martial law, from the all hell breaking loose, and the weather atrocities and lack of food and famine and sword. He said, and it's going to lead to this. "And they shall bear thee up in their hands." All right. And the hands represents those chariots. Lest thou dash thy foot against a stone, man, and you're gonna fall. The chariot's gonna go way up into the sky, and that's why it says earlier in the chapter, under his wings shall we trust. Lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. All right. So and thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder. That means in the kingdom we're gonna shine forth, and we're gonna be the hunters, and we're gonna hunt their lions, meaning their generals, and the adder. All right, which will represent their religious leaders, and the young lion, or the elites, and the young lion representing their suburbs or their homes, their families. They're going to be put in slavery. And the dragon shalt thou trample underfoot, all right? And the dragon, that's Esau. And it says here, because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. And he shall call upon me, and I will answer him. And you better not call him no Jesus. I will be with him in trouble. See, the Lord's going to be with us in the time of Jacob's trouble. And I will deliver him and honor him with long life. And then the deliverance is going to come. All right, that's what he meant right there. He's going to keep us in all our ways, and then ultimately bear us up into the chariots, man. And with long life, he's going to what? He will satisfy us and show us his salvation. He's going to show it to us. Man, it's beautiful, right? So, look at Revelation 19:11, ended with that. Revelation 19 and 11. Revelation 19:11, and I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse. That's talking about Yahushai's huge barn, chariot. All right, spoken of in 2 Ezra chapter 13 as well. It's a huge mountain, big as a mountain. All right, where was that? All right, verse 11. A white horse, man. That horse represents power, and white represents pure, but also dazzling. It's going to be glittering, glowing chariot. All right, a bright chariot that they call orbs, but it's going to be huge, man. All right, glowing. And it says, and he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness he doeth judge and make war. His eyes were as a flame of fire, meaning judgment, and on his head were many crowns. So at that moment, he's going to destroy all the kingdoms of the earth. All right, that's how you're going to have many crowns upon his head. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself, right? We experienced the faithful, the true, the righteous, but we haven't experienced him glorified yet. All right, nobody knew this, is going to know this but the elect. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, meaning he's going to stain all his raiment in judgment. Many, the slain of the Lord shall be many. And his name is called the Word of Yahweh. So he's the same word spoken of in John chapter 1. And the armies, the angels, which were in heaven, see, they were in heaven, even some of the elect are going to come from heaven, followed him upon white horses, man. That's that V formation. They're going to be following Yahushai's huge white horse or chariot. It's like the barn. And the gatherers, the reapers, are going to be following behind them in their chariots. All right, upon white horses, it's going to be plural. Clothed in fine linen, white and clean. All right, so yeah, man. That always said, swing low, sweet chariot, coming forth to carry us home, man. And that's what we should be looking for. We'll be able to rest in our chambers, man. and see the inside, the depths, the belly of the chariots, and to see ultimately the angels and become angelic and to see Yahweh Shai. They're going to take us to him. You know, they're going to take us to Yahweh Shai. It says, so shall we ever be with the Lord.